think anyone who does the sport, cross-country is what brings them back.
Through the trees, the lanes are tight.
It's a four-star event, anything can happen.
2011 was a landmark year for the sport of equestrianism, as the Australian International three-day event became a part of the prestigious HSBC FEI Classic Series.
His second win here at Adelaide for that man, Stuart Tinney.
The four-star category is the pinnacle of the eventing sport. It all comes down to this, one more to jump.
It certainly gets your adrenaline going.
Well, that's just absolutely superb. In 2012, riders are vying for the largest prize pool in the Southern Hemisphere.
It's such a big event, the atmosphere, and in the middle of the city, it's just awesome.
On one of the toughest courses in the world.
The cross-country course here is quite tough, and this year is no exception.
The crowd, makes them look at everything bar the jumps.
But it's more than an equestrian event. It's a four-day carnival showcasing the best that Adelaide has to offer. Yes, that's it. The tradition continues. Who will write themselves into the history books in 2012?
Hello everyone, welcome along to the Australian International three-day event right here in the heart of Adelaide. It is of course the second leg of the HSBC FEI Classic Series. Joining me, international equestrian star Paul Tapman. Paul, what a unique venue.
Totally a unique venue, right in the heart of Adelaide CBD here. It just makes for a fantastic atmosphere for both competitors and spectators alike.
Stuart Tinney, the defending champion, won last year on Panamera. He's on a different horse this year. How does that affect his chances?
His horse this year is Pluto Mio, and totally different. Doesn't give him any influence having won last year. This horse has got to prove himself at this level yet.
Who else do we have to keep an eye on?
Well, you've got Shane Rose here, he's a silver medalist, Olympian, so he's here to win. We've got Nat Blundell, she's coming in. She's really annoyed she wasn't on the Olympic team, and she's openly stated she's here to win, so she's here to make it special.
What about a dark horse, pardon the pun, of course, to maybe come from left field to win this thing?
Everybody's talking about Tegan Lush. She's a really young girl and no experience, first time at this level. But, I just mentioned Nat Blundell. She actually won it here, her first attempt here, so it's not an impossibility.
Should be fascinating. Let's head over to the Atco Arena to see the dressage component of the event.
Well, as ever, the stars have converged on Adelaide for this prestigious event, the most prestigious in the Southern Hemisphere, and they've come from around the world, including HSBC World #1 William Fox-Pitt and Australian Olympian Andrew Hoy. We took the opportunity to catch up with some of our very top riders who'll be contesting the four-star to see what competing in Adelaide means to them.
Oh, we just love coming to Adelaide event. It's just being in the city and going out and eating nice restaurants at night, and everything's so accessible. It's definitely the event to come to.
My ambitions this weekend is to finish. To get there on Sunday, to get through the finish flags and the show jumping would be amazing.
Yeah, it's an amazing venue. It's an amazing event. Nowhere else in the world do you get to ride through the middle of a city, and a capital city at that. So, yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful venue, beautiful town to come and visit and do a really nice four-star event.
My ambition for the event is to actually try and win. We've got some good competition with Stuart Tinney and Shane Rose and Craig Barrett. I think, it'll be very close, but I'd like to think I can knock the boys off the top podium.
Well, the very first test of the three is the dressage, and I'm delighted to be joined by Gillian Rolton, double Olympic gold medalist and event director here, and we're looking at the beautiful Pluto Mio. And this is one of the horses that's dealing well with the increasing pressure of this test.
Yes, this horse can be known to be quite naughty in atmosphere, but Stuart's really got him anchored and really got him going well. Flowing test, going quite nicely.
Craig Barrett and Wendella Jamie, now he's already been around with Sandhills Brulaire, so he's got two in this class, which must give him a certain degree of advantage.
This horse, Jamie, is a lovely horse. It's a very good moving horse, and Craig rides her very beautifully to come out and do a stunning test.
But it was all about this man, Shane Rose and the syndicate-owned APH Moritz. They really settled in the test, some beautiful collected work to see them go into the lead after this first critical performance.
Yes, he's a super talented stallion, this horse. Very lovely mover, lots of cadence, lots of ability. Little short in the neck for me, but did a super test for Shane.
A super test indeed. You can see Shane really enjoying that one. So, the confirmation of those top three, some other great names in there. You can see Craig Barrett, former winner of the 4-star Natalie Blundell as well, as we go down to just 62 penalties covering the spread to 10. But the real action comes here on Saturday. The cross-country course laid out over 3 of the beautiful parks surrounding the central business district of South Australia's capital here in Adelaide. And our trailblazers in the Bait Saddlers start box, Craig Barrett with Sandhills Brulair, the first of 2 rides for him. And as he heads out to the first, we'll take an opportunity to look right around this 10-minute, 8-second cross-country course. Wayne Copping, the course designer, South Australia's own, done a fantastic job here. And a real labour of love as well, because these parks here are in constant use by the burghers of Adelaide, so they can do no great capital work. So all of the course has to come in and leave as part of the preparation and breakdown of the event. The course getting them going nicely, just a couple of jumps to really open the horse out, a lot of wide profile fences before coming here to the hay racks, the first combination fence at 5AB. Some ditch jumping then before they cross Wakefield Road into Park 15 for this massive ditch and brush, and then the Equestrian Australia Hollows Complex. Through the water for the first time in Rymel Park, and then up to Stag's Corner, just there at the end of Rundle Street. Turning back to the Keyhole, and on now through the Rose Garden. The HSBC corners there at the very far end of the course. They come back to the FEI Classics Water, part of that HSBC series. Back into Park 15, having crossed Bartels. You can see using all of the parkland to make up the distance required for this 4-star class. And they head back now to a real serious question just towards the end of the course, the Advertiser Gully at 26A, B and C. Cross Wakefield for the final time through the centre chicane on their way back to the front of the Heritage Grandstand to conclude their cross-country round here at Adelaide, part of the HSBC FEI Classics. The course slightly adjusted due to the suspected hot weather, so we'll finish 1 fence earlier for 10 minutes and 8 seconds optimum time.
We're at fence 17, the Horseland Hexagon Keyhole. This is a seriously impressive fence for the horses to have to jump through. Coming up this massive hill, all they can see is the trees. It's a complete leap of faith and bravery for these horses. Not only do they have to have the bravery to get through this Hexagon Keyhole, but then they have to have enough balance and control to make the turn down and jump the tail of the possum. Fence 21 is going to be massively influential in this course. It's a really big jump, but not only is it a really big jump, you've got a maximum size drop down into this water. A complete leap of faith and bravery for the horses and riders.
So on course with our trailblazer Craig Barrett and the lovely performance-bred mare Sandhills Brulair, lying 5th after dressage on 51 penalties.
Yes, coming down the hill there, she was really looky. She wasn't quite seeing where she was going, what she was doing. She was a bit looking at the crowd, but Craig did a great job of keeping his legs around her and saying, come on, it's all fine. Over the island there and over that very skinny fence. He really kept her eye on that, and she jumped it very well.
Absolutely locked onto it. Crystal Conning and Marcus Aurelius are next out. Crystal from Victoria.
Yes, John. Crystal's a very good young rider. She's only really got this one horse. Last year she did a great job most of the way around the course and then had a silly step off and didn't finish. So she's really out there to try and get around this course today.
Up at the bottom of Rundle, Craig Barrett at the Channel 7 Stag's Corner brushes. This real traditional style of fence coming onto the triple brush arrowhead as well.
And didn't he do that beautifully? Just absolutely in a rhythm and kept her going focused.
As well as giving himself confidence, this will be giving the other riders a lot of confidence as well. He's doing exactly the job necessary for a trailblazer on a 4-star track.
Yeah, coming up the hill there, you know, those sorts of fences, you really have to ride them a little bit stronger than you think. And he really just gave her a little bit of a, come on, you'll be fine. And she jumped through it very well.
This combination were 3rd in ACT at Canberra in a 3-star class as their final preparation in October.
And coming into this very tricky double of corners, it's off a tight turn and quite a long 2-stride distance. Slipped a little on the turn, but he kept his leg on 1, 2 and over it very nicely.
A lot of people have told me that up there in Rymel in particular, when it gets very hot, it can actually become slippy, even though we've had very little rain over the last wee while. Down at the HSBC FEI Classics Water, Sandhills Brulair just getting a little bit long on the rein. How they come to this step up. Oh, gets right underneath the step and over the house. Gets away with it, though.
Yeah, Craig's riding like a man possessed. He's really wanting to make every post a winner here.
Well, from the great experience of Craig to just 21 years old for Crystal Conning, taking the longer route into this first water complex, Jill. Now, it's a bounce in, so that's probably quite a sensible move.
Yeah, she's not so experienced, and nor is the horse. The bounce in there is a very tough fence.
And they're very quickly on and off the island, bursting from the darkness back into the light to lock onto that triple brush arrowhead, jumping out of and landing back into water the first time of asking on this course. Craig Barrett at 26, the Advertiser Gully, Jill.
This is, again, a tough fence off a turn right at the end of the course. Quite a long distance, and it takes a lot of power to get through that fence on a tired horse. He rode it very well.
Well, getting ready to go out onto the course. Third after dressage in a very strong position for the defending champion. Stuart Tinney and Pluto Mio brought this horse here last year alongside his winner Panamera. They didn't complete the cross country, so he goes out hungry this time. We spoke to Stuart about what Australia's international three-day event here at Adelaide has meant to him.
And the last, fantastic for Stuart. He wins the competition, fantastic.
Favourite memory of this event I was probably with Vittori when I won it for the first time. Yeah, it was quite special. Being experienced, I think, helps at any three-day event. It certainly helps here. It's the terrain and the tricky sort of riding around the cross-country and the twisting and turning that plays a big part here, I think, to get the time. What keeps me in the sport is definitely the horses. When you have a really, really nice horse and a horse that you want to ride, it's exciting, wants to keep you in the sport. It gets a bit hard when you've got a whole heap at home that aren't very good. So at the moment, I've got some really nice ones, so it keeps me interested.
The Australian three-day event wouldn't be complete without Fashion Day. In the Adelaide Equity VIP tent, models showed off the threads from Horseland, Ariat and local iconic fashion house Miss Gladys Simtune. Something for everyone at the three-day event.
And our trailblazer finishing his round, Craig Barrett, Sandhills Brulair, clear, but just 2 seconds over the optimum time to add 0.8 of a time penalty. Stuart Tinney, Pluto Mio coming to this first water.
And he comes into the bounce and left legs all over it, but Stuart is so well balanced. His lower leg is so good. Through that dark into light.
Oh my goodness, just never even locks onto it, Jill.
Yeah, he just seemed to come out of that darkness, didn't see the fence at all and canted straight past it.
Well, that's 20 penalties, and that really changes things because, of course, Pluto Mio was lying third in this class for the world number 14, Stuart Tinney. They turned back for the second time of asking. And this is going to be a big ask because that's got a very narrow, pointed profile. So once the horse realises it can go past, well, yeah, there you are. A second time, and I think Stuart will probably call it a day after that. Yeah, early problems.
Such a shame for Stuart. But, yeah, once you have a stop at a fence like that, it's very, very difficult to get their eye back onto it.
Well, now we turn to New South Wales for Kira Burns and Fox Hill. This combination were third in a three-star at Tamworth up at the head of the Hunter Valley.
And now Crystal coming into this big double of corners on a long stride. Little horse, and she didn't get the 2 strides. He just didn't get the line, didn't get the 2 strides, and had a stop. She'll have to come around, jump it again.
Kira Burns and Fox Hill in the middle of the course at the Equestrian Australia Hollow, this 3-element jump. They've got a bounce stride the other side of the ditch. They come, they jump the duck brush. They don't get the most comfortable of jumps, and it looks like they've gone far enough right to not be judged to have presented at the C element, the treacherous ducks as they're known, and comes around to the alternative. They'll have wasted time there, but better that than 20 penalties.
And now comes Nat Blundell. This is a very experienced horse. He did a great job here last year, and Nat is a super rider. She's really out to try and show those selectors that she should have been in the team at the Games.
Yeah, 6th place for the member of the Australian High Performance Programme on course now. Kira Burns and Fox Hill at Stag's Corner, the Channel 7 Stag's Corner brushes, going quite far out to the right-hand side there and turning a circle once again into the 3rd element, separately numbered so they can do that.
Yes, that's probably sensible. She didn't feel that she had the turning ability to get that 3 strides off the curve to the skinny, took the circle, took the time, but didn't get 20 penalties.
Over the 9th, and looking now to the Equestrian Australia Hollow at 10, Natalie Blundell and Nalgebra as they're known together.
Isn't this little horse so athletic? That's a very short distance, that bounce, and he just found his way through the brush.
Well, coming to the next bounce on course, a lot smoother this time for Natalie Blundell and Algebra. You can see here, up into the darkness, through the crowds as well, and that'll interest the horses, and you can see the narrow profile of that fence, but going well so far. Shane Rose and the syndicate-owned APH Moritz go out onto the course, our leader after dressage.
Now, this is not the fastest horse around a cross-country course, but Shane is such an economical rider. He makes sure that he takes the shortest lines onto every fence, and this is what makes a slow horse still be able to make the time.
Well, a horse going pretty fast as Natalie Blundell and Algebra. You can see them making that keyhole to Possum's Tail look so easy there at the top end of Rymel Park. Shane now sets up for the Equestrian Australia Hollow, 10A, B and C.
Oh, and doesn't he do that so well?
Such a tight line as well. He had to weave around one of the lower level fences, making his way then across Bartels up to the first water.
Getting the horse really balanced here for this tough bounce into water, smooth as anything. He's really riding well. Now he's got to keep the horse focused, balanced, off the island, trips, but Shane's so balanced himself and so good. He just pulled that left rein and kept on going, and no problems at all over that fence.
Natalie Blundell now coming down to the final water, the HSBC FEI Classics water, over that hanging log, onto the boat on a left-hand curving line, and now step up and bounce stride to the house. All really good. He absolutely pings this horse. Now a young man, Andrew Cooper, just 19 years old, with guest of honour, goes out onto the course. And Natalie Blundell and Algebra come home to the Qantas fence, and they're going to finish just over the optimum time, 5.6 time penalties, but our second clear round on the country. Shane and Moritz at the Advertiser Gully, 26A, B and C. Oh, doesn't have the energy coming up the hill and trails the hind legs over that. So nothing left in the tank for the C element, and the hand goes up. My goodness, our leader is out.
Such a surprise and such a shame for Shane. Coming up the hill, he just didn't get his both hind legs together to push off, and the horse didn't have the power to get the striding onto the big oxer out. Shane, I think, thought the horse was a little tired, so discretion, better part of valour, looking after the horse, he's walked him home.
Andrew Cooper, guest of honour, coming to the HSBC FEI Classics water. Did a lot of hard work this year, qualifying up to this, including just recently at the New South Wales Championships at Goulburn. And we see that Cassie Webb has had a fall from Beckley at fence 9, so unfortunately they'll take no further part of the competition. They were our latest starter. Tegan Lush getting ready to start. She is the reigning Australian National Young Rider champion, having won that title here last year. And so appropriate for a family steeped in racing history that our start and finish is on the historic racecourse here in Adelaide. We asked her about her family and her support at this Australia's international 3-day event.
No, my family's been quite horsey. My grandparents were racehorse trainers. My mum was a jockey, but the racing side of things wasn't for me. I used to gallop around the bush pretending I was a man from Snowy River, and I watched Jill Rolton go around and decided, yep, I want to be like her. My first horse, he was Cocoa Pops. We bought him for $200 from a garage sale, so I got to name him after my favourite breakfast cereal. This is my first 4-star here, so I wanted to finish in the top 10 and get around and have fun and enjoy the experience so that for next time I've got something under my belt. My family are my big support crew here this weekend. My partner does a lot of my grooming for me and the cool-down box, and my mum does a lot of the strapping around the stables. Your support crew around you is the biggest thing. It's the biggest influence on how well you do on the weekend.
Adelaide is a great place to experience the buzz, culture and convenience of a big city without all the frustrations. Your food and wine experience begins with a superb Adelaide Central Market, You'll find a mix of restaurant strips dotted right across the city, boasting some of Australia's best chefs and wine lists.
Well, welcome back, and we're towards the end of the course with Andrew Cooper and guest of honour at this Advertiser Gully, Jill.
Yes, he's looking just a little tired by now. He left his leg over the first one, didn't quite get a good enough shot in, and so had to stop at the third element. He's going to have to come around and jump that again. He's giving the horse a little bit of a breather to get him back on track to try and pop out over that fence again.
And it's not just me whinging about the weather as usual. It is a warm, warm day for cross-country here in Adelaide.
Yes, it's a warm day, but there's a bit of a breeze, and it's really not for us too bad. But you Poms, you know, you do tend to feel this heat a little much.
Tegan Lush, Tempest Fugit, early on the course for them, coming into the first water complex, this South Australian Tourist Commission water, onto the island off the far side, looking now for this brush arrowhead, and another horse to just tank straight past it.
Yes, it jumped very bold and brave down through the bounce, really nicely over the mound on the island, but just didn't focus on that fence again. I don't think that Tegan has too much steering in this Pelham bit. It's a soft bit, and she's just not able to really keep him focused and straight.
Genuine enough to jump at the second time, though, and that's good to see. Bodes well. Murray Lampard onto the clocks. They're just coming in to the start box, getting ready to go out on their 10 minutes and 8 seconds at least around this cross-country course.
This is a stunning thoroughbred horse. He's such a lovely horse.
Tegan at the corners now, at the top of the course, the HSBC corners. Jumps the first, and my goodness, goes off the right-hand side there, Jill.
Jumped it so big, but again, I don't think she had the steering that she needed.
Back with Murray now, onto the clocks, coming to the bounce into water. Really wobbles that first one. That's a deformable fence, one of the safety features coming into our sport over the last few years. And onto the clocks, another one to just come very close, 80% probably off that fence, just knocks the flag instead of having 20 penalties.
And here we have Tegan coming into the HSBC Classics water beautifully through the first two parts, but again, that steering, she couldn't get that left-hand turn.
So with those 3 stops on course, Tegan's got to walk away home. A sad end for the National Young Rider Champion, but as you say, Jill, perhaps not entirely suited to this course, this particular horse. But there'll always be another day as we get our next starter. Legal star, Jessica Manson.
Another young rider from Western Australia, a long trip over the Nullarbor to get here. As we come back to Murray Lampard and on the clocks over the Horseland Hexagon and onto the Skinny. Gee, I don't think he jumped that fence. He jumped it but hit the flag, and I think he's going to have to come around and jump it again.
Going to ask the fence judge, but he's obviously in some doubt, otherwise he would have canted straight up the hill. It'll be no problem. This is less than metre 25 that's brush, but goodness, yeah, just came in really hot and heavy, and the right-hand delineating flag went down the left-hand side of the horse. Jessica Manson, legal star, into the first water, looking now towards this fence that's had a few drive-bys and gets another. Now that was naughty because that horse was on for well presented there.
Yes, it looked like she was really on the right line, but he just said nope at the last minute.
Murray Lampard onto the clocks at the Advertiser Gully. We've had a few problems here. Murray stands a mile off that. What a scopy horse.
How good is this horse? My goodness. And back to Jess, into the HSBC Classics water again, and beautifully through that line. Now that was really good jumping, really well balanced.
Jumping for fun up the step to the house. John Toomey and highly recommended another one to fall foul of this fence 13 on course.
Yes, he came off the island and went left and went right and then just didn't quite get there. But now he's got to get the horse refocused and reorganised.
Going to take it on without the flag on, making it a little bit more difficult for himself. But again, the horse quite genuine the second time once it understood the question. Well, a real local hero this weekend as well. Olympic silver medal winning horse Kirby Park Irish Jester from just down the road in the Adelaide Hills at Hahndorf. Went to Beijing in 2008 and won Team Silver with Megan Jones. Also went to the World Equestrian Games, won a medal there in 2006. 3 times FEI World Cup winner and a former winner of the 4-star here in Adelaide as well.
Visit McLaren Vale for exceptional wines, regional produce and some beautiful scenery. Only 30 minutes drive from central Adelaide, you'll find more than 50 of Australia's most loved wine producers. Not far from here, you can get a ferry over to South Australia's Kangaroo Island, a diverse, pristine wilderness that offers protection to native Australian animals. It's a place of beauty and a place of escape.
Well, welcome back to the action at Australia's international three-day event. Our last competitor on course is Craig Barrett, Wendella Jamie, making his way through that hollow there at fence 10.
Yes, he looked super through there. He really kept his focus, kept it straight, jumped very, very well.
Coco Black, another one glancing off the right-hand side there with Robert Palm at that South Australian Tourist Commission fence at 13. Wendella Jamie now coming down to that same water, Jill.
Yes, he's already ridden this fence once and did it beautifully on his first horse. Nicely through the bounce there. Now he's really got to keep this focus across the island to come out the other side. Oh, no, and he just came off the island and didn't get his eye on the fence at all. He will be kicking himself for that.
He surely will, having done it so well once before. In fact, Craig had a couple of other problems on course and decided to pull up a couple of fences from home. So looking forward to tomorrow's show jumping. That is our leaderboard, just 8 completing it, only 2 of them with clear rounds today, Algebra and Sandhills Brulair. It's going to be an exciting conclusion to this HSBC 4-star. Behind the scenes, the grooms and strappers working hard to get the horses nicely recovered for the show jumping finale to this class tomorrow. Really is a testament to all their hard work, how well these horses will come out on the Sunday. The crowds in the Adelaide Parklands also had the opportunity to enjoy international intermediate competition in the Horseland CCI 2-star, and some real stars of the future on display. No doubt some of these horses will be competing for their nation at Rio de Janeiro 2016. It also incorporates the Dublin National Young Rider Championship, so riders of the future as well, taking on Wayne Copping's testing track. Well, on course, we've got a local young rider, Jamie Stichlin, Image Blue Ice. This her own horse. It's 8 years old, and she is a South Australian favourite, Jill.
Yeah, she's a great young rider. Her mum rode for Australia many years ago at the Gawler 3-day event, and Jamie is following in that tradition.
3, 2, 1, go. Natalie Sienkovsky goes off on course with Smart Show Off. Coming to this footbridge, the Ariat footbridge. Early on the course, a lot of ditches for them to take on in this middle part of the course. Coming now to the final water complex, the HSBC FEI Classics. And they finished clear inside the time. Will Enzinger now goes out with Flowervale Maserati, and this one was looking pretty good after dressage. They were in 3rd place.
Yes, and Georgia Connolly, a young rider, brought this horse up through the ranks, but she's now given the horse to Will Enzinger to take on and give it a little bit more experience, and he's doing a super job with the horse.
Will just coming here to the final hollow. It's the last real big question on the 2-star course. You can see how keen Maserati is, ears pricked, just looking, saying, what do you want me to do next, Dad?
And they come in under the time, clear cross-country, clear on time. Fantastic round for Will.
That's really going to keep the pressures on the leaders, and none more so than Shane Rose, CP qualified, the Olympic silver medalist, 3rd at Burleigh a few years ago as well.
Yeah, very good dressage horse, this. Cross-country, he can be a little bit sticky, but of course, Shane's experience gets him through. Very sticky into the water there. Now he's got to get his eye onto this skinny. A little bit more time they have in the 2-star to get onto the fence, and Shane made sure that he jumped that fence with no problems. And coming up the hill now to this very lovely double of brushes on quite a long stride, horse jumped it very nicely.
This combination going really well on the middle part of the course. You can see them not wasting a second. They've got to stay up against that optimum time rate of advance in order to avoid those time penalties. They set up for the Rabbit Hutch, this double, first of all, 14AB, separately numbered then to the Wombat at 15.
This is looking like a really confident round. This horse is getting more confidence the further he gets around the course, over the last fence to the finish.
Just slightly outside the optimum time. 1.6 time penalties for Shane Rose, but he does hold the lead in the Horseland 2-star from Will Enzinger, Flowervel Maserati. Natalie Sienkiewicz and Smart Show Off for third. We'll be back after the break with all the show jumping action from Australia's international 3-day event. Welcome back to Australia's international 3-day event here at Adelaide, incorporating round 2 of this year's HSBC FEI Classic Series. Show jumping day starts with the important hurdle of the final horse inspection. The international ground jury just confirming that it is in the best interests of the horses to carry on to complete the competition. And unfortunately, John Toomey and Highly Recommended are not accepted at this point of the competition. So that just leaves us a real two-way fight out between our 2 cross-country clear rounds yesterday. Natalie Blundell and her grey Algebra, and Sandhills Brulaire, the trailblazing mare ridden by Craig Barrett.
Coming into the show jumping phase, I'll naturally be nervous. It's hard not to be. But look, the horse is a good jumper, and if I do a good enough job, then she's genuinely a careful jumper. So hopefully, you know, I'm confident.
In a way, being in second place takes a little bit less pressure off. So if I can do a clear round and then put the pressure on Craig, maybe, yeah, like his horses are quite a good jumper. I don't expect him to have many rails, but you know, you never know. And if I'm there at the end of the day, well, yeah, it'd be nice to finally get another win.
So on to the show jumping action. John Vallance has set up a superb course here today that's really going to be a true 4-star test. Lots of tricky little parts here, and Murray Lamperton onto the clocks, third after cross country, come forward first of all. And that was a late faller over there for 4 faults, Jill.
Yes, we thought that had stayed up, but right at the last minute it's come down. That flower fence is very tricky, it's very optical, looking into the crowd. He had that down. Nicely through that double and onto the Atco fence. This is a lovely horse. It's a very quality thoroughbred horse. It did race, and Murray's done a fantastic job bringing the horse through the ranks up to this standard.
This final line now, 5 forward strides down here.
And then onto this planks. This is a very tough fence. We all called it the Joker fence. It's the one that is going to be very difficult to jump.
So a total of 3 down, 12 faults, 4 time faults as well for Under the Clocks Murray Lampard. They finish up on 101.5 and hold third position or possibly better. Natalie Blundell and Algebra. Algebra really taking her on here in front of the Heritage stand.
And she had it down. This horse is a really good little jumper, but it can get strong, and when it gets strong, it gets a little hollow, and fences can come down. She was 4th last year, and she really wants to win this class. She wants to put the pressure onto the leader, Craig Barrett.
And that line in front of the Heritage Grandstand as well, it's tricky for an onward horse like this because the triple bar will really send you forward, leaving you close and underneath that first part of the triple combination. Coming on towards the last. It's just the 1 down so far. Will she be the first to clear the planks? No. Brilliantly fast round, though. Just the 2 down for 8 faults. Algebra and Natalie Blundell, 67.8. So that just gives Craig a little bit in hand as our leader.
Yes, you know, the problem with that fence is that they're looking through the fence to the commentary box behind it, and that's the trick.
And right near this in-out gate as well. So, our leader, Craig Barrett, Sandhills Brulaire, often running on this beautiful course here, set up in Victoria Park. Turning back to this line. And all the people as well, that's an aspect that comes in here more so than in a lot of other Southern Hemisphere events.
And that's what's so important about this event. It gives these horses and riders this real feeling of atmosphere and pressure. It's something that just doesn't happen at any other Australian competition.
It's a real world stage competition, as Craig, unfortunate to only have the 1 horse left in. I really thought he was a banker to get 2 around yesterday, but he pulled up Wendella Jamie towards the end of the course. But this mare, performance bred for the job at the Sandhill Stud.
Yeah, she's a very good jumping mare, this, and Craig is giving her a super ride. This horse is by the same stallion as the winner last year, Panamera.
Well, Craig comes to the final line now for the 4-star win. He's got a little bit in hand. He's going to go into time penalties as well. It would be such a shame to lose it on the clock. Clear so far. Will it be our first clear round? No, the planks again. But it's enough. 1 down, 4 faults, 3 time penalties, 7 to add. 58.8, meaning our HSBC 4-star winner here at Adelaide, Australia's international 3-day event is Craig Barrett, Sandhills Brillaire from New South Wales. What a fantastic victory, and history made as well. Amazingly, Craig completing his first ever 4-star event here. So our winner is going to take home the HSBC bursary as well. High performance manager for Australia, his wife, Prue Barrett, first to congratulate our 2012 champion.
Obviously, this event is the biggest event in the Southern Hemisphere. It's the pinnacle of our sport in the Southern Hemisphere, so winning it is probably, look, I've got to say, it's the best win of my career, and I'll remember it for the rest of my life.
Oh, the sensation's pretty good, really. It's always good to just even finish in this event. Yeah, like, you know, next year's another year, and I'll be certainly trying to go for the top spot. But this year I'll take second place, and really big congratulations to Craig, because he just rode really well all 3 phases, and he fully deserves to be on top this weekend.
Well, a fantastic first 4-star win for Craig Barrett with Juliet and Keith Osborne. Sandhills Brillaire in the winner's circle, receiving the blue ribbon here at Australia's international 3-day event. Winner also of the HSBC bursary for completing and winning his first 4-star. Confirmation of those results then. Sandhills Brillaire, Craig Barrett are winners ahead of Natalie Blundell, Algebra, Murray Lampert onto the clocks, Jessica Manson, Legal Star 4th, Kira Burns, Fox Hill rounding out our top 5. So change in the 2-star overnight as Shane Rose had to withdraw. CP qualified the horse just a little bit sore after cross country, so he didn't present it on the final day. One of the top young riders in this class has been Jamie Stitchell, just 17 years old here from South Australia. She was clear inside the time yesterday and becomes the first in the class to complete on the dressage score with a clear show jumping. Natalie Sienkiewicz also jumped clear, meaning that Will Ensinger only has 2 fences in hand, and he has the second of those on the final line. He comes, though, and jumps the round he needs to become the Horseland CCI 2-star champion here at Adelaide for 2012.
Yeah, very happy with it.
Well, a huge treat for this South Australian audience was the retirement of a real legend of our sport, not just in Australia, but around the world, Kirby Park Irish Jester Jill.
What a fantastic horse this horse has been for Megan. She bred the horse, she broke him in, she's brought him all the way through the ranks up to the very pinnacle of the sport. What a wonderful role model she is.
And I just love this horse more than life itself, basically. I really, I owe him everything. He is just so thankful that I could come here today to retire him. And thank you to all the kids that came and saw him yesterday out on cross country as well. That was really beautiful. He really enjoyed that a lot. And it was quite nice to have one little last jump out here in the main arena on him. So thank you all very much for loving him as much as I do.
Well, a horse to which she owes everything and he owes her nothing. 19-year-old Kirby Park Irish Jester, Australia's Olympic hero, retiring here at Australia's international 3-day event. That's all from our coverage of the 2012 event from Jill Rolton and myself, John Kyle. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll leave you some final words to the 3-time FEI Classics champion and world #1, William Fox Pitt.
What a great feel. I think, you know, to have a 4-star event in a city, it's just what eventing needs. I think it brings such a kind of a feel and an interest to, you know, perhaps people who wouldn't normally come and watch competition like this, and makes them realise, you know, what a great sport, and the more people that come in and appreciate eventing, the better.
Well, what a fantastic 3 days right here in Adelaide. And Paul, Craig Barrett on Sandhills Brillaire, he was absolutely flawless in the show jumping.
Well, you know, he's been flawless all week. He's just been, you know, the deserved victor at this competition.
Nat Blundell on Algebra, nerves that got to her, was it?
Yeah, you got to wonder that, don't you? She was breathing right down Craig's neck, you know, right to the finish there. Really, she, you know, had the potential to win in her mind when she went into show jumping, but no, it wasn't to be. Maybe the horse is a little unreliable in this phase as well.
Going back to yesterday in the cross country, lots of casualties there, including the big guns, Shane Rose and Stuart Tinney. What did you make of that day?
I tell you what, it was an action-packed day, wasn't it? There was just penalties going around the whole course. I mean, who would have ever thought that that little narrow fence all by itself in the water jump there was going to be so influential? You know, just, yeah, very entertaining day here.
Well, Paul, wonderful to have your company with us again here for this year. Congratulations to Craig Barrett on Sandhills Brulaire, and we look forward to seeing you right here next year.